the first of the season, and it's a little iffy, that shoulder weather, the water, you just never know what's underneath the snow too. Everyone's going to be going to be a little more cautious, moving a little more slowly. That is good. That is good because there's an awareness, which is what we're going to be talking about today. There's that awareness of, right, there could be rain, there could be snow. We don't have to freak out, and we don't have to, stop everything, which sometimes happens, right? I mean, sometimes I will. If I don't have to drive the first few days of snow coming, I'll stay off the roads because everyone is a little bit more, their energy is a little higher. There's a little more thinking. So there's one way to look at this is there's just an increased awareness. Now, increased awareness is good. I mean, we're aware all the time. We wouldn't be able to know how to push buttons to get on here. We wouldn't know that there's a time and a clock and how to match up the time so that we can all be in this room together. There's awareness of all kinds of things. There's an awareness that it's cold out. I'm going to layer up, or I'm going to put on a bigger coat. And maybe yesterday I still wore my sandals and I wear my Crocs kind of 340. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So sometimes even awareness of how 365 days. Wow. Yeah, I did. I had a brain fart and I totally lost how many days in a year. I was thinking 24/7 and I got caught with that. There's 365 days. So I wear my sandals anytime, as long as there's not too much snow. I might walk out, but they're Birkenstocks. So, which doesn't really mean anything. Yeah. Let's begin, shall we? Let's just take a few minutes to I'm not going to give any instructions on breathing, or you can allow your awareness to go wherever it goes in this next minute. And I'm just going to be quiet. It's only for a minute. And just notice that you're noticing. Notice that you have the power of awareness, of consciousness. And let's just do that and get curious about where it's going to go for you. Maybe you would like to look at your breath. I'm going to keep my eyes open and I'm just going to be aware. So however you want to play this awareness for a minute, let's just do it together in our own way, starting now. Now come back. Come back and as soon as I say come back, maybe not, your attention may focus in. So where did it go? I went to, I brought a new light in because it was suggested that I could have more light in this room. And I noticed, there's a rip. It's a paper. It's an IKEA lamp. I really like it. But it's got a couple little tiny, I noticed the rips. I noticed a year-long planner I have on the wall that I never use. I noticed how I was sort of leaning forward and then I could lean back. Like, I went to the snow. What I'd like you to notice is that, that unless you are focused on your breath, and even focusing on our breath, our awareness can change. It can go to, oh, I'm not breathing fully. Oh, let's breathe fully. Or, oh, when am I breathing? I should breathe out of my nose. Or, oh, I'm going to breathe out of here. Even when we focus on our breath, there can be other places, other things that we become aware of. And that's just how we work. When we give ourselves permission to not do anything, but just sort of notice what comes into our mind, notice our awareness, notice what we are aware of. Notice that you can only be aware of one thing at a time. I wasn't aware of snow when I was aware of the little rip in the paper on the lamp. When I was aware of the calendar, my attention was not on the lamp. So we have the power of consciousness, of awareness. And it allows us to do all kinds of things. And it guides us. Now, when I say it guides us, it's not that so much, but in combination with our own thinking, our own attention. It's our attention, what we put our focus on. That is what guides us to the experience we have. That is what we experience. It's not even guiding, it's taking us there. What you think is what you feel. You're thinking and you're feeling, the associated feeling that thought sparks in you. They rise together. And if you continue to think that thought, you'll continue to feel that feeling. If you continue, it will bring you more, because we are energetic beings. It'll build momentum if we allow that, or we continue to follow that train of thought. Oh, it's cold out there. Oh, there's snow. There could be ice. We can stop right there. First day of snow, good to know it's a fact. Dress warmer, what comes to mind to do? Wisdom will give you some nudges. 24/7 is nudging you. 24/7. So we'll say, okay, dress warmer. Change your shoes. Start earlier because you might have to scrape off the vehicle before you can even drive. Allow more time because everyone's going to be going slower. We could stop it right there. And what we might do, oh my gosh, everyone, the drivers are crazy this time of year, and then people forget that we're actually in the beginning of winter and they need to slow down, and they don't, and they forget, and they're listening to something or talking to someone and they speed up, and now they have to slam on their brakes, and now they're skidding and they're becoming into, we can go on and on and on and scare ourselves. and it creates something. There's ripple effects. So I titled this talk today, The Ripple Effect of How Awareness Can Change Everything. And the little sub that, explore the underestimated power of awareness and how your attention is like a beam of light, dispelling and highlighting cause and effect. And it does influence your reality, of course. Because what you're aware of, where your thoughts go, and your thoughts are somewhere and you can become aware of them. You might feel it in your body before you become aware of your thoughts. It's usually how it goes. Your body will indicate to you whether you are following your true nature, who you really are, the energetic being of infinite wisdom that you truly are, this human aspect, this physical aspect here on earth is just a teeny tiny part, teeny weeny part of who you are. We have this grand and great, infinite energy that lives and breathes us all. So when we're following that, wisdom, our true nature, it will feel good. You'll feel good. Your body will be more relaxed. There won't be tension. And when you're going against it, meaning your personal mind is like telling you all kinds of things, trying to keep you safe, trying to keep you to hold back and stay in what you know, even if you don't really like it, just settle for that, because at least you're safe. But we didn't come here to live safe. You'll know safety. You have something, an instinct within you that will override everything, all thought, to keep you safe. When your child runs out onto the street, you don't stop to think and figure. There is something that instinct will rise to the occasion, and you will be quick as a bunny and grab them or yell or something. We don't have to worry about our safety. It's taken care of. It's in us. It's built in. But we can really hold ourselves back when this is what I see. And for those of you who are new, my intent always, with anything that I do or any talks I do here, it's always, I want to turn you back to you, to who you really are, and to an understanding and awareness of how you work, of how your mind works, and what you're really experiencing in your life. That you are the grand equalizer, that energy that lives through you. It knows. When you hear the answers are in you, you have all the answers. Only you can answer that. And when you in the beginning, it might be, oh my God, no, I can't answer it. Please just tell me what to do, because I'm just so... When that happens, it just means that you have a lot of personal mind thinking. I'm going to talk about personal mind, and I'm going to talk about universal mind. Universal mind means the wisdom, the energy that we all are, that animates us, that built us, that built our intricate system, that built the solar system, that built trees and water, and has them all functioning together and serving each other in the world. There's that. And there's what we experience is the feeling of our own thinking. Only ever 100%. We are never, no one is making us feel angry or sad or happy or delighted. No one, nothing outside of us can ever have us feeling a certain way. We are only feeling our own response or thinking about something. It is an inside-out experience of life. It's the only way it works. And I invite you to test this out for yourself. That when, even in a day, there might be some dirty dishes left on the counter by another family member. And at one time in the day, it'll be, you just pick it up and stick it in the dishwasher or wash it or however you do it in your house. And it doesn't really create a big blip in your mind or a lot of energy in your body. And then the next time, same day, maybe even in the same hour, maybe even in the same minute. 1 minute, it's okay. And then the next, it's just like, why does this keep happening? Why don't they? How can? And it'll turn into a big thing. What's the difference? Same dishes, same household, same family, same day, maybe even in the same minute or two. Feels fine 1 minute, and the next it's like totally unacceptable, not okay. What's the difference? The only difference is your thinking. The only difference is what you're thinking in that moment. I notice this for me if I'm carrying along, things are fine, like everything in the house is looking as it is. I've been walking through it and there's something there and something here and it's not my stuff and it's fine. And then I'll get bothered by something. Maybe it has nothing to do with the house. Maybe it's like I've been trying to do something in here and that tech thing won't work and now I have thinking about that and it's like thoughts are like stacking on top. That's how overwhelm can happen, where you have one thought after the other and they're not really stacking so much because you can only think one thing at a time. But you think one thing and the feeling can linger a bit. Not really. It's dissipating. As soon as you change your thought, the feeling is already leaving. But if we're thinking this thought, oh, there's that tech thing, and then there's this, and now there's stuff all over the house. So do you see how this stacking thing can happen? It's like a chain of thought. It creates a momentum. And you can tell by your body, the feeling in your body, the tension, when it's like, wow, I got a lot of thinking going on. And it's going against my true nature. Because my true nature is like, there's no judgment in all this. There's either something to do or not. Is it a problem? What do I, yeah, it is. Okay, what's to do? Go do something about it and do it. There's just not a lot of thinking or energy or emotion that needs to get wrapped up in that. So test it out for yourself in these very basic, everyday things. It's the easiest way. It'll change your life forever when you start to see that all of those problems that you believe are causing your stress, distress, illness, pain, inability to take action on something or to, if only they would change or if only that would happen. No, it's nothing to do with that. It's all to do with how you are thinking about it. Now let's talk about that in this way of looking at awareness. Because we often, what I see is that we often, even whether because I've heard this in a language that hit me, that resonated with me, that I did all of a sudden, a lot of things that I thought were problems just fell away. That was back in summer of 2020. So since then, like I've seen that, oh wow, this is true everywhere. But there's still some areas of my life where I'll get tripped up. like a lot. So some areas are, I see it more clearly, and others it's just like, it seems to work everywhere except for this. But that's not true, because I've also seen that, oh, I'm not feeling that way about this all the time. So I know it's all my thinking. It's the only thing. And that this will take a lot off your mind. There might be, it's like, oh my God, now what do I do about it? And we can talk about that from this perspective of awareness and how there is a ripple effect. Because when what I've seen over and over is like, there are areas that it seems to be easier to see. Oh, I can see that. And often it's the areas that are stickier are the ones that we have very strong beliefs in. And all a belief is our habitual thinking, that you just keep agreeing with the same thoughts. And they can be broken in a moment. It does not take 21 days or 30 or 60 or 70 or whatever the latest thing is. It can happen in a moment. Awareness is the first. Just being aware. Just being aware of your own thinking about it. And then there's like, and I'll share some stories, it's kind of like muscle memory. And like thought memory. That's just really like a belief or a thought. Some people might call it mindset. It's the same thing. Don't get caught on mindset or it's a habit and that it's going to be hard, because this is what we do. What I see is that we become aware of something and then we I don't know what the word is for it. We make it bigger. So here's something which story am I going to start with? Let's just stay with this for a moment. I'm going to bring my notes closer because there was a way of talking about it. Yeah, okay, well, let's do this. This way of how we can add extra thinking on of hard and too much. Now, I've seen a lot around the body. In my first year, this understanding, there was a lot of thinking that fell away about it. And I can still see at times it'll kind of slip back. I've noticed how there was all these things that I thought that was the cause of things. And I know that when I just get into a good feeling about what I really want, all of a sudden, without me making a conscious choice, things start to change and I start to do different things. And what I discovered the past couple of months, and I've sort of sat back and just wanted to see, like, where is this going? Because what's happening? I noticed how much time, the concept of time, played into my physical health. So how I saw time was that I never had enough. And I felt that there was often things that I wanted to do. I committed to, I said I was going to do it, that I'll put all of that first. So if there's any kind of a time crunch, and I've also seen how I, overcommit. I really want to do all these things. And they say, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then it's like, Mick-eye-la, there is physically not enough hours in the day to do all that you're committing to do. What are you doing? Well, guess what the first thing is that I kick out the door when I feel like I don't have enough time? My health. I stop, or at least cut way back, walking or dancing or whatever. I like to do all kinds of things. I do yoga, Pilates, and, whatever feels good, whatever I feel like, yoga would be good this morning or today or whatever. So whatever it is, it would just I would push all of that aside. I know it might sound silly, but that was shocking to me to become aware of it. I knew, here's the thing, I knew, on some level I knew. It's like, I know, I'll get, when I get through this crunch, when I just get this done, because I said I was going to do that, and when I get that done, then I'll. The then it was week after week after week. So we can be aware of something on some level, but it's almost like if you're in a dark room and you have a low light. I often will use a headlight if I'm reading a book or something. I'll use a headlight in the house. Yes, not a lamp, because then I can read any time, and it doesn't matter where. I used to use them a lot when my kids were young, checking on them and stuff. I always walk. I'm sure people thought, "Ooh, what creepy!" There's always someone walking around in there with a flashlight. Yeah, it's just my headlight. But it's like being in a room with a small light or a headlight, and it's like you're aware. You can see things kind of in the shadow. You're aware of them. It's like, I know my bed is there and my dresser, and I know. And yet I'll still like bump into it or whatever. It's like I haven't really given it my attention. Oh, just like the leg. My husband and I do this. I can't tell you how often we do this, because I'll fold clothes on the bed. I'll hit our bed has those roller things so you can move it. I stub my toe on it. I'm aware of it. I'm aware of it. Kind of. And then I stub it. And then I'm really aware of it. Well, this awareness, now that, the ripple effect of that, of not being aware or then becoming aware, is like, oh, okay, I'm not going to be stepping that. Maybe I'll move to the bottom of the bed or a different spot. With the sort of health thing, when I started to if you've been here for a while, I stopped drinking coffee, and it's not like I'd never drink another coffee, but really I don't like coffee. I like the creaminess, like I like a latte. I like sweetness and creaminess. But if I was to just drink coffee, that's really gross to me. And I found it was affecting my stomach, and just a lot of didn't matter what, I used all different kinds of, coconut milk, and it just seemed that some kind of combination. I had a lot of hems, and sometimes feeling sort of almost congested. And in this period of the time, I started drinking coffee because I have this old belief, this pattern, this thought memory. Think about muscle memory. So like this habit of thinking that when I drink coffee, I'm going to move quicker. I'll get more things done because it's going to energize me more. It's like going to be like the Energizer bunny on, supercharged. I'll go faster or whatever. And I found I just have it. It started like this. I had some things that I just had to get them done. So I had a coffee in the late afternoon, mid-afternoon, because I knew I needed to be in. Often I don't really feel like doing that. Maybe later in the night. I didn't want that. I needed time in the evening to do it. So I had a coffee. And then the next, a few days later, I did it again. And then it's like, wow, I've found that I've been drinking more. And I've started to feel that. So you have this memory or this thought, the thinking that we have, and we've just always kind of thought it. And we can get away from it like I did with the coffee. It's like, yeah, not, and no, I don't actually think it makes me, actually it did keep me awake. I was more wakeful. But I don't know that I really needed it to do the work that I wanted to do. I was not trusting myself. So all of the things that I could be aware of here is, I have a habit that I keep thinking that coffee is going to make me more productive. And I've proven to myself over and over it doesn't, and it actually eventually will start to make my stomach feel sick. I'm aware that I tend to say yes to things because I really want to do it and I really want to be helpful, and I need to be a little bit more selfish. You could look at it as selfish. I could call it realistic. What makes new sense? We're only always doing what makes sense to us in the moment. And if I've slipped back into a thought that coffee's gonna, then I'll do that. And I did it. Like, whatever. It's fine. It's no big deal. Nothing's happened, but there were ripple effects. I started feeling it in my body. I started to get the again. And there's other things that will have me do that. But I did notice that was making a difference. Here's another. I just wanted to check in here because I think sacrificing self-care used to be too easy to do. Now it's non-negotiable. Good for you. Good for you. And Bethany, if it ever happens that you slip back into something, it's like, oh, awareness will catch it. Your ability to be aware was like, oh, right, yeah, I don't do that anymore. It's not important enough. It doesn't make sense anymore. And if we do slip in, and it's okay. The more you give attention to something, like I could, we might say beat myself up over it. Why did I do that? What's wrong with me? I'm supposed to be walking my talk and all of that. And it's like, yeah, I am walking my talk. I'm a human being, and we're going to forget and we'll slip. The only thing we don't need to do is make a big deal out of it and stay stuck in it, because that's what happens. Because we are these energetic beings, and our thoughts are energy. Our feelings are energy. It's a sensation. Our feelings follow our thoughts. So if I'm going to sit and beat myself up over this, like, why am I doing? I'm wasting my energy. It's just a waste of energy that could be put towards, okay, well, what do I want now? What do I want instead? Let's put our attention on that. Move forward. We can't go back. Our personal mind is filled with the past. That's all it's got. It's helpful. It's helpful at times, but if we're relying on this, all we're doing is, living in working with past stuff. When we have infinite potential and creativity coming through us, being offered to us all the time. Let's look to that. What's possible? Okay, how can I see this differently? I wanted to share, I heard this morning. Err in the logic. I'm creating something, and it's like, okay, I know what it's going to be about. And then yesterday afternoon, I got into this. It's like, oh, I could feel it. It was a familiar mud puddle. It was familiar. And we all have places in our lives where when we're aware, it's like, oh, here we go. I'm getting into this. All right, this is not helpful. I know that all I'm doing is I'm mudding it. I'm putting too many ideas, like too many things. And it's like, what's the point I want to make here? Like being really clear. Anyways, this person, she said, sometimes there's an error in the logic and it will affect everything. There'll be this ripple effect. It's like, this is perfect. Because my error in logic around the whole coffee thing, like, this is going to help me be more efficient and effective and use my time, and I'll move quicker and I'll think quicker and I'll get more things done. And there were ripple effects. I didn't really do that because I was still thinking with the same brain. It might have had me be more awake, but it didn't help because I was still thinking about things in the same way. It just had me getting there, with more energy. I don't know. The ripple effects were my stomach. I started to notice, oh wow, okay, my stomach is being affected. And that's fine. Our body is a tremendous indicator of telling us when, hey, you're making choices that are not serving you. You are making choices and there's something else. When you make one choice, because we live in a contrastive world, you can't, good cannot arise without the opposite. There's always both arise. But if we're just looking at the one, we're missing the other end of the stick, if you want to look at it like that. Contrast, hot, cold, tall, short. This feels good, this feels not so good. So what can I know? What do I want instead? I want something over towards that side where it's going to feel better. What would be just even a little bit better? Even just to move in that direction. Because when we're here and it's just like, why am I doing that? I'm staying on that end of the stick. So what awareness is like, oh, first being aware, oh, here I am. Remembering these things. I'm always doing the best I can in the moment with my current thinking. So is everybody else. Okay, this doesn't feel good. Good to know. That means if it doesn't feel good in my body, it means that I'm not allowing my true nature to guide me. I'm trying to do it all with my personal mind and I'm making stuff up. I'm taking stuff from the past. Well, this is what happened in the past. This is how it's going to be. This is how I project it to be based on. And you make it so that you don't want to go there. Here's another, anyway, and then, but even just moving, what can I see here? How can I see this differently? And what would be just even a little bit better than what I currently got? Well, I'm going to stop beating myself up. It's like, what do I want instead? Okay. Maybe I'm not going to have some coffee for a while. Not forever. It's fine to have it sometimes. I had one on the weekend and it was fine. But using it to do something that it's not really made for, that's not helpful. If there's anything that comes up that you want to put to this, that you want to see more different or it doesn't make sense, I'm going to share a couple more stories. So I was a self-taught swimmer. We in the lake, I'm from Saskatchewan, Canada, the next province to the east of us. And we lived close enough to a lake, like 40 minutes or whatever from lakes. There was a series of lakes and there was not every Sunday, but often in the summer, we would go to Echo Lake and we would swim. And we never had swimming. None of us did all that. We, learned to dog paddle and do our best swimming, that we could. We stayed alive. We learned enough on our own to stay alive in the water and had great fun. Well, fast forward I had already had William. So I have two kids. William is 20. He'll be 21. Wow, what's wrong with my time today? It's interesting. Whatever, nothing wrong with it. And my daughter is 17. So William was little. I had already had him. So maybe he was a year or whatever. I'm not sure. And I decided to go for swimming lessons because I wanted to learn how to swim properly. And the instructor, and it was all like, there was some people that couldn't put their faces in the water. Like it was that kind of swim, lesson. And then she just worked with all of us where we were. And having us float. And she said, you're a sinker. And it's like, it just seemed that I sunk. Like where other people could just float effortlessly, like just out there, I tended, if I didn't give a little bit of motion to help me stay abroad, I sunk. She called me a sinker. And it's like, and it was kind of like not helpful or not, whatever, but I kind of probably kept it on. I didn't purposely keep it on. I told the story because I thought it was a little bit funny and that it was different, and I don't really know why. So anyway, there's that. And then it was a number of years later, and I wanted to, again, I took up, so I just did that one lesson, right? Like, or it was a series of like probably 8 lessons or something like that. And that was fine. But I never became a swimmer with that. And I'm still not a swimmer, but a number of years later, I wanted to do a sprint triathlon. So it's a short one. So I think you swim 300 meters, or I don't know, I can't remember what it was. That you run for 10K. And so it's all smaller. It's not the really long one. And I went to our local rec center and I took swimming lessons. But I said, like, actually, even before I took them, I seemed to not get anywhere when I swam. We were out so just before I started the swimming lessons, my husband, he actually was a lifeguard when he, was a teen. So we were at a local outdoor pool, and, he was helping me with my swimming. And he said, well, move over here because I think you're caught in the current of the water coming in. So he kind of moved me over and he said, I don't know. I feel like I'm going backwards. And he's like, yeah, he said, this doesn't make sense. And it was just like, he was in the water with me, and it was, we had our daughter, so we just left it. So when I went to my lesson, I had a private lesson, too, where he just kind of worked with me after, because he was looking, he did the same thing as Rob did. He said, move over here, because he was watching me swim. And he said, move over here. I said, I think you're getting caught in the current. Anyways, looking, he said, you are indeed. You are going backwards. I can swim backwards. But that wasn't helpful. So I could swim forwards when I used my arms. As soon as I engaged my legs, which is, if you're going to be a powerful swimmer or stronger or get places quicker, and also not tire out so much with just using your arms, you want to engage your legs. There was like a muscle memory. So what he ended up doing was he said he held my legs and had me swim, and he moved my legs so I could feel what it felt like to get to make them move in a way that got me moving forward. And I did. And I did my sprint. Rob and I did it together, and we created our own. So we measured it all out. I didn't do a race because I was afraid of lots of people splashing around me and I knew that wouldn't be good for me because I'm not that strong of a swimmer yet. But now I know how to move forward. And I got the feeling of how my legs are supposed to move. It's the same thing with how you work. Once you're aware, at first, it's like, there was something wrong. I knew there was something wrong. I knew that I seemed to go backwards when I should be going faster forward. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know. I had a feeling of how it naturally moved, like how I had gotten into a habit of moving it. But that wasn't. So not that it was natural. It was just, that's what I did. That's what I learned, and that's what I kept doing, so I got it ingrained. Just like a habit of thought. Just like a habit of thought. So here's why I'm telling you this really long story, is because there were ripple effects out of that. Whether I'm a sinker or not, whether my bones, she said, you're very dense. I get that. I've always been told that, you're very, I have very strong legs, and, I'm strong. I lived on a farm. Grew up on a farm, so we carried, basket, and like when I was, we did heavy work. Maybe it makes your bones denser. I have no idea. It doesn't matter. Whether I was a sinker or not, according to that one instructor, I knew that I don't need to sink. I have the ability to not. Once I became aware that, and I had someone else help me to, like, what's going on? I know something's not right. That's what we're doing here. There's something that we're always looking to feel better about or do better, or like there's more, or what. We know that we're creative beings and we want more, and there's so much more available to us, but sometimes we just don't. I don't know what to do differently. It's like creating this thing where I had this person help me this morning. I don't know what. Actually, I'm having more help this afternoon because there's something still dangling, lingering, that is just like, oh, I'm still afraid to get in there, that I'm just going to get caught in my thinking. It helps to have someone like look on and help you to become aware of what's causing what we don't want to happen. And it's good to be clear about what do we want to happen. I wanted to move forward. That was it. I just wanted to swim forward, not backward. Once I knew, and then he was such a great instructor. You need to feel how it feels. I invite you to test it out. Imagine being well, no, because that won't work, but know that it is a feeling of alignment. When you're aligned, there is a feeling in the body. When I know we've all had times when we've been so aware that, oh, this is a decision or something has come up and you needed to make a decision and you just knew, oh, I know that this is right. I've had to say no to things with my kids before. No, you can't do that. You can't go for a sleepover there or whatever. Why? It's like, I can't give you an answer that you are going to logically understand. My answer is, it just feels like no. And they get that. They get that now. If you have young kids or anyone, talk to them like this. Let them know, because they'll actually surprise you that they get it. Or they might, just keep pushing for an answer. I got that a lot too. But it was just like there was a feeling. So there's a feeling of knowing. That is when you are really aligned. And also when you're just not even aware that there's a feeling of knowing. There's just like a boom, 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 you just carry on. You just carry on doing one thing to the next, and now I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and it's like you're being guided. And it might, if someone had a camera on you and they were looking, it might look random. She's doing that, and then she's over there, and then she's going over here, and then going here. But it was just so easy and effortless, and things were getting done, and things were being enjoyed. That is living guided. That is living by your true nature. The ripple effects for me were, oh my gosh, I did a mini sprint or whatever they're called, the smallest one. I did that. I became aware of things that I've always thought I couldn't do. I'm just not made for that. I'm just not cut out. It's going to be hard. Those are some of the ways that we can stop ourselves when we become aware. Oh, you've got the wrong, whatever muscle memory you have, however things dynamically are working. It's just like your arms and your legs are pulling you in different directions, and your legs are stronger, so you're moving a little bit more backwards than forward. Well, that could be like, oh my gosh, how do you time. If it's something that is coming up inside of you to do, you will follow it. You will do it, and it won't be so hard that your thinking mind might try and make it out to be. I think I've already said all these, because if there's something that's going on in your life, you just notice that, hey, take some moments that are just quiet. and come into it with, like, what's going on here? What am I not seeing? Do I need to, like, hey, is there someone doing a call that might help me to become aware of what it is that's going on? Oh, did I know? Wait a minute. If I feel my thinking, then what my coworker, partner, child, mother, whatever, is doing, that I think they're doing it because they want to tick me off, or they're trying to manipulate me, or whatever story we're making up. It's like, oh, well, okay, so if it's true that no one can make me feel anything, that I am only feeling my own thinking, like you are one unit, your experience, your whole of your life is happening basically kind of in your own head. It's all thought. You are only in relationship to your own thinking, not anyone else's thinking or doing or actions, only with your own thinking about it. So it's like, okay, so what's going on in this situation? Here's where it is. Here's the facts. Look at the facts. Be very clean about it. What are the facts? Anything that cannot be looked at by all the other 8 billion people in the world and that they would agree with, anything that everyone cannot agree to, and anything that everyone would agree to is a fact. Anything else is story, is made up by our own thinking. That's what we're experiencing. That's the roller coaster we go on. That's just how life works. You can't stop that. Let me make that clear. You can't stop that. It's just the way it works. So when you stop resisting that fact, and again, I'm calling it a fact, test it out for yourself. Prove it to yourself. If there's a situation in life that you are adamant that you say, yeah, Mick-eye-la, it works here and here and here, but it's not true here. It's not true here. Bring it to me. Let's explore together. Let's check it out. The only way is to see for yourself. And when you start to see these things more clearly, the ripple effects are huge. I've heard this term so many times. I'm going to say it. And when I talk about these ripple effects, where it's like when you have awareness, it's like you can look at it in different ways. It's like you rise. It's like rising. Here's one way of looking at it. When you're in a glass elevator, one of those, have you ever been in those? Or glass elevators when you're going up and you can see more and more and more. That's one way to look at it. All boats rise with the tide. When you become more aware of something, it's like everything, awareness of everything, how you're seeing it and experience it rises with it. It's the only kind of way it works. Although sometimes we think, no, that boat's, even though the tide is up here, that boat is still low down there. And that's when, it's like, yeah, that can't work. Like, it can't even work that way. So it's like, then I know that I'm looking at it in a certain way. So just get curious. Just get curious. Is there anything that rises to the surface here for you? Is it helpful? First of all, is there an area in your life or something current maybe, or maybe, something that's recurring that you can see that, oh, this maybe opens up a little window to see this differently. I'm curious to see how when I go back to this project that I'm doing, now that I've become a little bit more aware of my habitual thinking about creating something, creating a project, creating, it's a course, creating this thing where habitually I see it like this. It's huge. It's huge. There's so much that I could talk about. I'll bring this understanding, this new understanding to these calls, and maybe I can talk less, say it all in 15 minutes, and then have you guys, if you have things that you want to say, and invite you guys to talk more. Maybe the calls only need to be a half an hour. Not even. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm curious to see the ripple effects of what I'm sort of seeing new, becoming more aware of. Noticing how, I keep getting that. I've been working on this for a while. I have become aware of so much already. How much more can I see? It's like, is it like the wheels on the bed? That, I'm aware of it, and then I keep forgetting and going back to it. It's like, okay, well, how could I make this more helpful? How could I actually use this awareness? Does it make sense to keep going? It's a big bed. It's a king-size bed. I could put the cloak. Maybe I need to put the basket down in a different place. Maybe it starts there. Does that make sense? Kind of makes sense. I kind of put it at this corner, which if I go here, if I go here, I'm going to hit the wheel. If I go here, I'm not. Maybe put it in a different place where it doesn't matter where I stand to access it. I'm not going to touch the wheel. So how are we setting ourselves up for staying in the same situation, even with awareness? Where are we maybe ignoring it? Because it's just like, now I have to think about that. Well, maybe it's the awareness is enough to, like, when you become really present to something, really present to it, like I've just talked about this basket, you can bet the next time I go put a basket on the bed, just because I've given it some presence, some attention, the habit of sticking it in the one corner, I'm going to be aware of it, and I'm going to put it in a different place. And maybe, because I'm human, sometimes I'm just going to, just by habit, I'm just going to put it back where I never get it, and I'm going to hit my toe again. But I'm going to be hitting my toe less and less and less and less. I hope this sparks something in you. I hope it sparks your own wisdom. That's what I'm looking to do. Because your best answers are within you. They really are. And you don't have to go digging for them. In fact, let go and just let them come up. Just become aware. When you have so much thinking going on, trying to figure something out and make it different, and what can I do here? What can I do to change this? What can I do? Well, with all of that, you're just inviting all your past thinking, I could do this and that, and it's just kind of moving the same furniture around in the same room. You can only be, well, let me try it this way. What if I put it that way? Or maybe the furniture is just wrong for the room. maybe it's just for a different room. Or maybe it just doesn't belong in this house at all. Maybe it's not helpful at all. It's not even comfortable. It's lumpy. But you're always tracking towards the good feeling. Your body will let you know when you're on track. And your wisdom, your own inner wisdom, will rise to the surface. I mean, it's always rising to the surface, just sometimes it's quieter. So it's missed when the thinking is so heavy, weighs you down. Your thinking can stop you in your tracks, put all kinds of obstacles in the way, and it can clear it all out in a second, less than a second, in an instant. Allow that. If you do have any questions or anything about this, you can always message me. It's been a pleasure. I hope it was helpful in some way. I like to know whether it was or wasn't, or what wasn't clear, or any of that. Anything you'd ever like to share, I'm happy to hear and answer that privately or, on the next call. Hi, Geraldine. Thank you. Nancy, it came in late, but I'm working on that higher awareness, living in the now and not resisting thoughts coming through and letting them go. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point, Nancy, because thoughts will come through that are like, oh, there's that crappy thought again that's making me feel crappy. And it's just like, just don't worry about it. Off you go. Carry on. Carry on. Next. Because there's always another thought coming along. Hi, Nicholas. He was late too. Hi, Nancy. It's hard, but you're trying hard. You know what, Nancy? I invite you to not try so hard. It'll actually make it easier. It'll actually make it easier when you let go and you not try so hard. The harder I try, when I try hard, I know that I'm not. How do you try? Let me put it this way. You have an intelligence living you, living through you, animating your body in a way that it doesn't through any other human or species on this earth or in this universe. There's only one you, Nancy. Lighten up. Yeah. There's only one you. The thing to do is, yes, do the lighten up. Just let it flow. How would I like... Now you are it, but I'm going to say it in a way almost like that you're not. Because sometimes we almost have to do I have to step away? No, you are that. Excuse me, I'm not going to say it like that. How would I like to express who I am today? How will that be helpful in the world? Show me what to think, say, and do. And then carry on with whatever the next thing is to do. Okay, I'm going to brush my teeth, I'm going to the bathroom, going to get dressed, going to do it throughout the day. Nancy just finished Living Untethered. Nice. That's not Singer. No, that's not Singer. Is that a book? I'm thinking Michael Singer, but I think that was a different kind of untethered story. Begin living untethered. Yeah. Hey, Nicholas, I got 5 more of the recordings of these Insight Timer lives up on my YouTube channel. I have it in my bio. I have a link in there to the recordings of the lives. I actually have them sitting on my website because then they're all there and they're easier and you don't get distracted by all the other noise. So it's coming, it's coming. I know I said I wanted to do them in order. It's a process. Anyway, that was one of the things that I committed to. Yeah, I committed to, and I said I was going to do it I said I was going to do it in my mind, and I think I said it to you too, by the end of this past week, and I got 5. Thanks. I just want to ask it. Just want to. I think that was a misspell that you just wanted to ask about. That I know there was that one. Indeed. Anyway, I'm on it. So I do endeavor to at least do, even if I can do, I won't do a couple every day because that's what originally I was going to do. And it's just like, you know what? I'm going to get to them and I'm going to try. I know that there'll be a day where I can get a bunch done. And then there'll be days there where it's like, well, I'm probably not going to get any done today. It's a time thing and it takes up my computer. So, but I'm getting there. Next week, I do kind of like Halloween. I won't do anything scary, but I do have a talk next Tuesday, from scary-go-round to merry-go-round in a sec. So, and it's about catching the tricksters in your mind, ghost bust at will, and go from spooking yourself to having a laugh. The fun house is a thought away. I actually would like more time in my day to come up with cool words and descriptions of talks, because that's kind of fun to me. And sometimes I can't. A couple weeks ago, it was like something around this and that. And that's what it was around. That's what it was. So if anything resonated here and you're new, I'd love to have you follow me. That would be great. Hope to see you again. If you ever have any questions or things that, hey, can you talk about this more? Or, hey, you always talk about this, but you never actually say, because sometimes we don't know. You're welcome, Lori. Thank you for being here. I'd love to hear any of that. Or, hey, what about this in my life? What about this? This is happening. What do you say to that? Like, how do I apply that here? How does that make sense here? Or whatever, just whatever comes up. Happy to help out with that. So I'll see you again. Like your words. Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you. Appreciate that. As much as Lori, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Do. The words. I love that because as much as I can, yes, there are things that I think up that I know already. They've come up and they make sense, and it makes sense, and there's a mix of this, of like, right, I know that, and you'll hear me say it, right? That we're always doing the best we can. I believe it's something that I can say it because, like, I've known it, I believe that. And the words that come up in the moment, because I don't know what's going to come up in these. And you have that too. You have words that want to come through you from your own wisdom, and it will spark others. We've seen that in the chat in calls, right? Where someone says something that's like, yeah, and it kind of sparks, it resonates. It touches the aliveness in us. It's like, yeah, and it brings up new ideas. We all have this ability to catalyze each other's true nature, your infinite wisdom. It almost like it cracks through and gives a direct line. It's like, got it. That's cool. This, that. You're getting ideas all the time. It's like making art. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you for being here. It's been lovely. I am, as I said, you can, in the bio, there's a link where you can access recordings that I've put up so far. Some of them are video and some of them are audio, because sometimes the screen record is almost stroby kind of, or weird. So I always audio him as well, just in case that happens. So yeah, anyways, love to you all. Thank you for being here. And hopefully we'll see you next Tuesday. Have a lovely week. Hearts back at you. I appreciate that. Christine, you're welcome. Nice to see you. Take care.